Hey Reddit. Not sure what I'm hoping to get out of this, but maybe just writing it all down will help me breathe again. I, 32M, found out a few weeks ago that my wife, 30F, is cheating on me. We've been together 8 years, married for 5. No kids, just a shared mortgage and a dog we both love like a child. From the outside, we looked like one of those solid couples. You know, shared Spotify playlists, brunch on Sundays, passive-aggressive texts about laundry, but never real fights. We met in college, moved in together after graduation, and honestly, I thought she was my person. The thing is, if you asked me 6 months ago how our marriage was, I would have said good, a little quiet maybe. But looking back now, there were cracks. Tiny ones. She stopped laughing at my stupid jokes, started guarding her phone like it was radioactive, and she suddenly got really into spin class, even though she used to make fun of it and say it was like hamsters trying to impress each other. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, people change, right? We grow, we get hobbies. That's what I told myself when she started working late more often and suddenly always needed me time on weekends. But you know that gut feeling? The one that whispers instead of shouts? I ignored it. I was wrong too. It started with small stuff. Like I said, her phone became basically glued to her hand. She used to leave it face up on the kitchen counter, always buzzing with notifications from our group chats. But somewhere along the line, it flipped literally. Face down. Silent. Like it had something to hide. I asked her once, just offhand, "Hey, why do you keep flipping your phone over?" She rolled her eyes and said, "Because the constant buzzing gives me anxiety, babe." Fair, I thought. I have anxiety. I get it. But that excuse didn't line up with the sudden 10 p.m. texts and her random work emergencies. Then came the spin classes. She joined this boutique gym, ridiculously overpriced, and started going 4, sometimes 5 nights a week. Even Saturdays. At first, I was supportive. She seemed genuinely happy after class. Sweaty, glowing, energized. But one night I saw her come in with perfect makeup still on and barely any sweat. She caught me looking. I asked, "How was class?" She smiled too quickly. "Tiring." Kicked my ass. And walked past me straight to the shower. I know it sounds paranoid. I wanted to believe I was just imagining things. That I was being insecure. I even thought, dude, maybe you're projecting. Maybe you're the problem. But the lies? They start to pile up in weird ways. Like when she said she was meeting her friend Tasha for drinks, but Tasha had posted an Instagram story from another city with the timestamp still on it. When I asked her about it later, she got defensive fast. I said I was texting Tasha, not meeting her. God, you never listen. Spoiler, she definitely said meeting. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something just didn't feel right anymore. I didn't want to be that guy, the snooper, the tracker, the creep. But that gut feeling? It wasn't whispering anymore. It was screaming. Okay, so I never thought I'd be the guy who checks his wife's phone. I've always believed in trust and giving space and not being crazy. But this one night, maybe 2 weeks ago, she fell asleep on the couch. Her phone was in her hoodie pocket, unlocked, screen still glowing. And that voice in my head said, "Look." I hesitated. I swear I did. I even paced around the kitchen first, trying to talk myself out of it. But eventually, I sat next to her, gently pulled the phone from her hoodie, and opened her messages. There he was. Saved as G, no emoji, just the letter. Real subtle. I opened the chat, and everything inside me dropped through the floor. "You looked so hot today. I couldn't stop thinking about last night. Wish I was falling asleep next to you instead." He still doesn't know? Damn, babe. The worst part? She responded with hearts. With, "I miss you, S." With details. Stuff like, "I told him I was going to yoga. I hate lying, but it's the only way I can see you." I read everything. I don't even know how long I sat there. Could have been 10 minutes, could have been an hour. My hands were shaking. I scrolled back weeks. Months, actually. They'd been seeing each other since March. That's 4 months of her sneaking around while I made her coffee, folded her laundry, booked a weekend getaway for our anniversary. 4 months of me blaming myself for her distance, wondering if I'd become boring or not enough. I didn't wake her. I didn't scream. I just sat there in the dark, phone in hand, watching the woman I loved breathe softly like nothing was wrong. But everything had changed. Everything. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the kitchen until sunrise, staring at the backsplash like it had answers. Every once in a while, I'd unlock her phone and reread the texts, like I was hoping the words would rearrange themselves into something innocent. They didn't. When she finally stirred around 7 a.m., I heard her feet shuffling down the hallway. She came in, all bedhead and yawns, kissed me on the cheek like she hadn't just shattered everything we built. I pulled her chair out for her at the table, calm. Too calm. She sat down, still rubbing sleep from her eyes. I said, quietly, "So, how long have you been fucking G?" The way her face dropped, you'd think I smacked her. She froze, stared at me like I was speaking another language. Then came the act, the blinking, the "what are you talking about?" I repeated it, slower this time. Her hands trembled. I don't know what you're saying. Who's G? Me. The guy you said you missed last night. The one you met after yoga. The one you sent that picture to on the 12th, you remember? The one in my t-shirt? Then came the switch from shock to anger. You went through my phone. That's such a violation. I can't believe you don't trust me like that. She actually had the audacity to try and flip it on me. I laughed. Actually laughed. The kind of tired, bitter laugh you hear from someone who's completely cracked. I don't trust you? You've been lying to me for 4 months. Then came the tears, not sobbing, but that manipulative wet-eyed thing she does when she's cornered. She said, it wasn't serious. It was just emotional. I was lonely. I asked, did you sleep with him? Silence. I asked again. Still silence. That was all the answer I needed. After that silence, that long, heavy silence, I just got up. I couldn't look at her. Couldn't even breathe in the same room. I walked out to the backyard, sat on the steps, and stared at the lawn I'd mowed 3 days ago while she was probably texting him from the bathroom. The same backyard where we grilled last summer, where she laughed with my mom, where we talked about maybe building a swing set when the time's right. Everything was poison now. Every memory, every object, every fucking plant in the yard had her fingerprints on it, and now it all felt like a lie. She followed me out, still in her robe. She tried to talk, but I didn't let her. She started with, "It didn't mean anything. He's just someone I vented to. You've been so distant lately." That last one, that one nearly made me lose it. Me. You cheated on me because I've been folding the wrong kind of distance. Because I don't get hard-ons over spin class. She actually had the nerve to say, "Well, you never asked me how I feel anymore." I could have screamed. I didn't. I just said, "I didn't think I had to ask if you were going to torch our marriage. Thought you'd maybe give me a heads up." She said it wasn't technically cheating because she hadn't fallen in love. Then said she might have developed feelings accidentally, but that she still loved me. I wanted to throw up. She asked me what I wanted her to do. I said I didn't know. I didn't. I was caught somewhere between wanting her gone forever and wanting to rewind the last 4 months and fix it before it broke. She cried. Again. I didn't comfort her this time. I was too busy holding the broken pieces of everything I thought I knew. You'd think, after getting caught red-handed, she'd come clean. Lay it all out. Try to salvage something from the wreckage. But nope. She doubled down, just in a sneakier way. That night, she said she wanted to talk like adults and clear the air. I agreed. I wanted the truth, at least. A confession. A timeline. Something that made sense. What I got was more bullshit. She told me they'd only hung out a few times. That it was mostly texting and emotional. That it got physical once, maybe twice. Once, maybe twice. You either cheated or you didn't. This isn't Schrodinger's betrayal. When I asked how they met, she claimed it was a co-worker's friend she bumped into at a bar after spin class, which already contradicted the texts. He'd called her coach at one point. So I asked, "Is he in your spin class?" She hesitated. "He works there." Boom. Caught again. I said, "So he's your instructor." She looked like a kid caught stealing candy. He was for a while, but I stopped going to his class after things got complicated. Translation: they were hooking up and she didn't want the other instructors to notice. Then she pulls out the classic. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't go looking for it. I felt seen. I felt alive again. Alive again. Like being with me was a ing coma. She said I'd gotten comfortable, that I'd stopped making her feel desired. Meanwhile, I'm here thinking about all the date nights I planned, the texts I sent just to say I loved her, the house I helped pay for while she was out finding herself on someone else's mattress. Every sentence out of her mouth made it worse. Not just because of the lies, but because of how casual she was. Like it wasn't betrayal, just a phase. A temporary mistake. Except it wasn't temporary. It was deliberate. Repeated. Hidden. Protected. And I was starting to realize I didn't know this woman at all. After that conversation, I started seeing things differently, and not in a good way. It was like a switch flipped in my brain. Suddenly, the past wasn't just the past anymore. It was evidence. A case file. I kept replaying everything. Every late meeting. Every girl's night. Every time she came home smiling at her phone and said it was just a meme. I'd been walking around like an idiot in my own house, while she built a whole secret life behind my back. I started checking our shared calendar and bank account. Guess what I found? Uber rides she never mentioned. Near the gym, but at 11 p.m. A receipt for a bar we've never been to. 2 charges to a boutique hotel across town. One on a Saturday, I was out visiting my dad. When I showed her the charges, she blinked twice and said, "Oh, that's from when I surprised you with a staycation idea, but then canceled it. They must have charged me anyway." Spoiler, I never heard a word about a staycation. She was lying again. Sloppy. Not even trying that hard. Like she still thought I'd believe her if she looked me in the eyes and spoke softly enough. But the worst part wasn't her lying. It was that I kept wanting to believe her. Even as I sat there knowing full well what she'd done, I found myself hoping maybe there was some other explanation. Maybe I'd missed something. Maybe I'd been too cold, too distracted, too married. But then I'd remember the texts. "Wish you were inside me right now. He's clueless. I feel bad, but not enough to stop." Yeah, that was real. The person I married. The one who used to sneak sticky notes into my lunchbox just to say, "Love you." Dummy. That person didn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did. Maybe I just saw what I wanted to see. The mirror cracked, and I couldn't unsee the truth anymore. So there I was, sitting in the living room, lights off, dog curled up next to me like he knew something was wrong. She was in the bedroom, door shut, probably crying, probably texting him. Who knows? And I just sat there, asking myself the question, what the hell do I even do now? I hadn't told anyone yet. Not friends, not family. I didn't want to hear the "oh my god" or the "I always had a weird feeling about her" takes. I didn't want people to know that I, the guy who always had his shit together, was now just a walking cliche. But doing nothing felt worse. I started Googling divorce lawyers. Not to call, not yet, just to know names. Started reading Reddit threads, shocker, watching YouTube videos on how to heal from infidelity. Even though I felt like I was just bleeding all over the carpet. There was this moment, maybe the lowest, where I actually asked her if she wanted to fix this. And you know what she said? "I don't know. Not yes, not no. Just, I don't know." Like she was deciding between 2 pairs of shoes. She said she needed space to think. That she wasn't proud of what she did, but also wasn't sure she was ready to give up the connection she had with the other guy. I asked if she loved him. She said, "I don't think so, but I like how I feel when I'm with him." That hurt more than if she'd just said yes. She still wanted to feel good, while I was here trying not to throw up every time I saw her shampoo bottle in the shower. That was the moment I realized. I might not be able to fix this, because she doesn't want to fix it. She wants to pause me while she explores him, and I'm nobody's backup plan. I held it in for 3 days. 3 days of pretending to be normal while I went to work, fed the dog, and slept on the damn couch because I couldn't stand being in the same bed with her. She didn't even fight me on that. Just said, "Do what you need to do," like this was some civil disagreement about thermostat settings. Finally, I cracked. I called my best friend, Matt. Matt and I have known each other since we were 14. He was the best man at our wedding. He actually liked her. Used to say we were one of the only couples he knew that seemed real. So when I called him at 9:30 on a Tuesday night and said, "Man, she cheated," there was this long pause. Then, just, "Say that again." So I did. And then I told him everything. The texts, the gym guy, the lies, the confrontation. He didn't say, "I told you so." Didn't try to hype me up. He just listened. And after a while, he said, "All right, first things first. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. And this isn't your fault." And I swear, I almost cried right there. Because part of me did feel like it was my fault. Like I somehow let this happen. Like I failed at keeping my wife interested. Keeping her happy. Keeping her home. Matt talked me off that ledge. He reminded me I've always been the one showing up, planning dates, asking about her day, covering bills when she switched jobs, supporting her hobbies even when they changed every 3 months. "You don't cheat on someone like that," he said. "You talk to them. You fight for them. Or you leave." We stayed on the phone for 2 hours. By the end, he offered his spare room if I needed it, offered to help me move stuff, even offered to accidentally hit that spin instructor with his car, which made me laugh for the first time in days. That conversation didn't fix anything, but it reminded me that I wasn't alone, and that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the one who needed to change. I didn't plan it. I didn't wake up that morning thinking, today's the day. But something in me snapped around 4 p.m. when I saw her texting on the couch, smiling at her phone. She tilted the screen away when I walked past, just slightly. You know that micro-movement someone makes when they know they're doing something wrong? Yeah, that. I didn't say anything. Didn't even ask who she was texting. I just walked into the bedroom, grabbed a duffel from the closet, and started packing. She followed me in. What are you doing? Still calm. Like I was being dramatic for folding t-shirts. I'm going to Matt's, I said. You said you needed space to think. Well, here's space. She blinked. Wait, you're just leaving. I stared at her. You already left. You just didn't pack a bag. That hit her. I saw it, but not enough. Not nearly enough. She started pacing, asking if I was really going to throw away 8 years over a mistake. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just kept folding shirts like a man on autopilot. Then she pulled the guilt card. What about the dog? What will people think? Can't we just go to therapy first? Oh, now she wanted therapy? After 4 months of sneaking around, lying to my face, and making me question my sanity? I zipped the bag. Therapy's for people who want to fix things. You wanted to escape them. She tried one more time. If you leave, you're giving up. And I said, if I stay, I'm giving up on myself. I left that night. Dog stayed with her temporarily, but Matt and I already talked about how I could take him later. I drove to Matt's place with a trunk full of clothes and a stomach full of acid. I didn't cry, didn't rage. I just felt empty, like the version of me who believed in us had finally died. And I was walking around in what was left. Matt's spare room has a futon and a lava lamp from college. There's a poster of the Big Lebowski crooked on the wall and a pile of laundry he never seems to fold. It's nothing fancy, but that night, it felt like a lifeboat. I sat on the futon in the dark and stared at the ceiling for hours. That's when the grief really hit. It wasn't just about the cheating, not exactly. It was like watching your whole life collapse in slow motion. Like realizing you've been speaking a language for years and only now finding out she never really understood you, or worse, didn't care to. I thought about our wedding day. Her smile. The vows. The way she grabbed my hand under the table when her dad gave that weird, awkward toast. The vacation in Croatia. The day we adopted our dog. The little rituals, grocery store runs on Sundays, watching trash TV while eating cereal at 11 p.m. Were those moments real? Or was she always somewhere else in her head? I cried, finally. Not the pretty, single-tear kind. The ugly kind. Silent, shoulder-shaking sobs into a pillow that smelled like Axe body spray and regret. I wanted her to walk in and say, I'm sorry, it was all a nightmare. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to hold her. The betrayal came in waves, sadness, anger, shame, confusion, each one heavier than the last. And the worst feeling? Guilt. Yeah, I know. Stupid, right? But I couldn't stop wondering. Was I too boring? Too available? Too easy to lie to? Did I let this happen? Matt knocked on the door around 1 a.m. and just slid a beer inside without a word. I didn't drink it, but I appreciated the gesture. That first night without her was the longest one of my life. But I made it through. Barely. She called me 2 days later. I ignored the first few calls. Let her text sit unread. But she kept trying, persistent like a debt collector. Finally, I picked up. I don't know why. Curiosity? Closure? Maybe some desperate, dying part of me still wanted her to say the right thing. Instead, she gave me one final excuse. A Hail Mary of emotional manipulation. I didn't cheat because I wanted to hurt you. I cheated because I didn't know how to ask for more. I nearly laughed. More of what? More patience? More of me folding the towels the way you like? More free evenings so you could go clear your head with a man who calls you baby girl and can't spell definitely right? She said she felt trapped, like she was just someone's wife and not a person anymore. And sure, I get that. Marriage is hard. You lose parts of yourself if you're not careful. But you know what most people do when they feel trapped? They talk. They ask for space. They go to therapy. They don't bang their spin instructor in the back seat of a Mazda. She said she wanted to fight for us now. That she made a mistake. That she could change. And maybe if she had said those things the first night, When I found the messages, maybe I'd have leaned in. But now, after the gaslighting, the half-lies, the I don't know, now it just sounded like desperation. Not love, not remorse, just someone who didn't want to lose the safety net. I told her I'd think about what comes next. And then I hung up. No screaming, no sobbing, just this cold, final feeling of detachment. And that's when I realized I was already halfway out the door. The next week was brutal in a quiet kind of way. She kept texting, mostly long, rambling messages that read like journal entries. Stuff like, "You don't understand how lost I was," and "I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to be myself anymore." I didn't respond. I didn't need another performance. I needed peace. Instead, I contacted a lawyer. Just getting the consult nearly wrecked me. I sat in the car for 15 minutes outside the building, just staring at the glass door like it was the gates to some alternate life I didn't want to walk into. But I did it. And weirdly, the moment I said the word divorce out loud to a stranger, I felt this weird kind of clarity. Like my brain finally caught up to what my heart already knew. It was over. We had one last in-person meetup to talk about logistics. The mortgage, the lease on her car, the dog. She cried when I said I wanted to keep him. Said, "He's all I have left." I didn't back down. I'd been the one walking him every morning, taking him to the vet, buying the expensive grain-free food she said was extra. She said, "So that's it. You're really just giving up." I didn't yell. I just said, "You gave up first. You just didn't tell me." I handed her the lawyer's number, the separation proposal, and a copy of our wedding photo. Not to be cruel, just because I didn't want it anymore. And as I walked away, out of the apartment, away from the life we built, she didn't call out. She didn't chase me. She just stood there, silent, still, like the ghost of a person I used to know. You expect something dramatic after a breakup like this. Fireworks, panic, closure, something. But what came next wasn't explosive. It was silence. I moved into a short-term rental, a small one-bedroom place near a park. It's not much, but it's mine. It smells like fresh paint and possibility. The dog adjusted quickly. Better than me, honestly. He sleeps curled against my leg every night, like he's guarding whatever pieces of me are still intact. The first few mornings were the hardest. No sound of her hairdryer. No shared coffee ritual. No petty arguments about what podcast to play in the kitchen. Just me, the dog, and the kind of silence that makes you think you're going crazy. But slowly, I started breathing again, eating again. I found myself remembering how to exist without orbiting someone else. I unfollowed her on everything. Blocked the guy, boxed up the wedding photos, took off my ring, threw away the damn spin class brochures. I still have moments, flashbacks, I guess, like when I hear a song we both loved or see someone with her haircut at the grocery store. Grief doesn't travel in a straight line. It sneaks in sideways. But here's the thing. The grief gets quieter. Not because you forget, but because you stop letting it define you. Some nights I still ask myself, could we have saved it if she had told me sooner? But that answer doesn't matter anymore. Because she didn't. And I did everything I could. And now, I'm starting to remember who I was before her. And imagine who I could become after her. All right, Reddit, here's the raw truth after all this mess. Trust is everything, and once it's broken, it's damn hard to put back together. I used to think love was enough. Turns out, love without honesty is just a slow poison. Don't ignore your gut. That little voice whispering something's off? Listen. I wish I hadn't chalked it up to stress or busy schedules. It was warning me. You are not responsible for someone else's choices. For a long time, I blamed myself. Thought I wasn't enough. But cheating is a decision someone makes, not a reaction to your shortcomings. Support systems save you. I don't know how I would have survived without Matt, and without places like this subreddit where you can vent and not feel judged. Healing is messy and nonlinear. Some days you feel like you're fine, and then a song or a scent will knock the wind out of you all over again. That's normal. You can come out the other side. It sucks. It hurts. But this isn't the end of my story. It's a painful chapter. And I'm learning to write the next one on my own terms. If you're going through something similar, here's my unsolicited advice. Don't settle for half-truths or maybe someday, Don't be the last to know. Protect your peace. And above all, love yourself enough to walk away from the lies. Thanks for reading. It's been brutal, but getting this off my chest feels like a start.